Hey guys, this is Mr. Bennett, and this is video number 3 for Unit 15. We're talking about saturation and colligative properties. Now remember, this unit's all about solutions, and solutions are made up of two things. First of all, you have your solvent, right? And solvents are the things that do the dissolving. You generally have more of them in the solution. And then you have your solute, and remember, your solute is the thing that gets dissolved. You have less of it in the solution. So this is just to review the two parts of any solution. We're going to talk about these as we move forward. So the first idea I want to talk about is how much solute can be dissolved. In other words, how do we describe this? Well, as we add solute to our solvent, eventually we're going to get to the point in which no more of the solute will dissolve in the solvent. So I'm sure you've seen this before, where you've taken sugar, you've put it into, say, iced tea or coffee or something like that, and as you're stirring it, the sugar dissolves. But at a certain point you add some sugar and it just sits at the bottom, and no matter how much you stir it, it won't dissolve. We would call that a saturated solution. A saturated solution contains the maximum or max amount of dissolved solute. And one way we often refer to this is we refer to it as a concentrated solution. Okay, so if it's concentrated, that means it contains the max amount dissolved. And it also turns out that this is affected by two things: temperature and pressure. So two units or variables that we have described in the past. So the temperature and the pressure will affect how much solute can be dissolved in the solvent. Okay. Now it turns out that even though saturated sounds like it's the maximum amount of solute you can dissolve, there's actually a way you can get even more solute to dissolve. We call that type of solution a super saturated solution. And it turns out that supersaturated solutions, as we said, contain more than the normal saturated amount of solute. But because they contain more than the normal amount, meaning more than the normal max, they are unstable. So they don't really like being supersaturated. And in fact, if you add more, basically adding more solute or disturbing it will force the solute out. In other words, you'll have this nice dissolved solution, you add a little bit more, you do something to disturb it, and then all of a sudden everything you dissolved just falls out of solution. And it often looks like a crystal, have a crystalline type of appearance, and so you'll see crystals growing in the solution or something like that. The way you make a supersaturated solution, by the way, is, or at least one way you can do it, is you add a bunch of solute until you get to the saturated level, then you raise the temperature to make it more soluble, add some more solute to it, okay, and then cool it back down. So when you get back down to room temp or whatever temperature it is that you're cooling down to, then you keep all of that solute that you dissolved in solution until you do something to force it out, like adding more solute or disturbing it.